Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. We had a presidential breakfast this morning, and about 20 minutes ago we adopted the program for October, and I would like to brief you on what will happen in October under our presidency. The Council's agenda for October is very packed, and it's most of the time the case with other presidencies as well. The reason for it is a mandate cycle, as we call it, the reports of the Secretary General that need to be discussed, and the resolutions on the respective mandates that should be adopted. This October, the UN Security Council will also travel to Addis Ababa to hold annual joint consultative meeting with members of the African Union Peace and Security Council. That's, you know, an alternating event. This time it's the African Union that hosts that meeting. The two councils are expected to discuss the issues of mutual interest related to the regional agenda, and we, as Russia, are honored to be leading the UN Security Council to Addis together with our co-leads Somalia. We attach particular importance to the meeting with the AU Peace and Security Council and overall engagement with the African Union and African countries, both nationally and in our presidential capacity. As you may have heard, a new department in the Foreign Ministry on partnerships with Africa has been established recently in the Russian Foreign Ministry. This shows our commitment to strengthening even further our ties with African friends, which are historically very close. So clearly the visit to Addis will be the highlight of our presidency. Another two highlights will be our signature events. The first one will be on October 23rd, an open debate on the Middle East. It is a mandated quarterly meeting, but we have plans to elevate its level. The unfolding catastrophe in Gaza will be in the focus of the Council's attention this day, and we expect Deputy Special Coordinator Ramiz Alakbarov to brief the Council. On October 24th, we celebrate the United Nations Day, the 80th anniversary of the day when the UN Charter entered into force. We plan to celebrate it in the Council by an open debate, which will be an opportunity to reaffirm that the United Nations is not a relic of the past, but a unique and indispensable adaptable mechanism for addressing most pressing challenges of the present and the future. The title of the meeting is UN Looking into the Future. We plan to land the debate around several key issues, such as strict implementation of the principles of the UN Charter in their entirety and interconnectedness, restoring confidence in the organization and long-term vision for the future. We expect the Secretary General to brief the Council. We already see much interest among the Member States for this meeting and hope that it will be an engaging and timely exchange. Another highlight, we will hold an open debate on women, peace and security on October the 6th. As you may know, it is the 25th anniversary of the UN Security Council Seminal Resolution 1325. Technically speaking, it is a mandated meeting rather than a signature event, but it will definitely be in the limelight since the topic is very relevant. You know how packed is the Security Council chamber when this issue is being discussed. And you should recall, and I would remind those who forgot, that the Soviet Union pioneered the women's agenda more than 100 years ago, promoting equal rights for women, while in the West they had to struggle for another several decades about it. We expect the Secretary General to brief the Council for this open debate. We also plan to invite two women civil society briefers to share their experiences on the matter at hand, and we will share their names soon. And I can assure you, you won't be disappointed to hear them. Turning to other mandated meetings, after the UN floating holiday tomorrow, we will start our deliberations on October 3rd with a briefing and consultations on Colombia with the new SRSG there, whom you all know very well, Miroslav Yencha. He will present the Secretary General's report. On October 7th, we have a briefing on cooperation between the UN and the African Union. SRSG Parfait Ananga Anyanga will present the report of the Secretary General. We also expect EU Commissioner for Political Affairs and Peace and Security, Bankole Adeoye, and ASG Marta Pobi to brief the Council. On October 8th, we plan to hold a private meeting on Somalia and Al-Shabaab sanctions. We expect to hear briefings from SRSG James Swan, EU Commission Special Representative El Hadji Diene, as well as from my colleague from Panama, Ambassador Eloy Alfaro de Alba, in his capacity as chair of the 2713 Committee. October 9th will be fully devoted to the Middle East. In the morning we have consultations on Yemen with Special Envoy Hans Grunberg and OCHA representative as briefers. In the afternoon the consultations on the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force will take place. On October 10th, we will have consultations on MINURSO, which is Western Sahara, with both personal envoy Staffan de Mistura and SRSG Alexander Ivanko briefing the Council. The week starting from October 13th is mostly reserved for the Council's visit to Addis to hold annual joint consultative meeting with the members of the African Union Peace and Security Council, as I said. They will take place on 16th and 17th of October in Addis. Before that, on October 13th in the morning, we are planning to hold a briefing and consultations on Great Lakes region, where Special Envoy Juan Xia will present SG reports. After lunch on the same day, consultations on the implementation of Resolution 1559 on Lebanon are scheduled. On October 14th, a briefing and consultations on UNSMIL, UN support mission in Libya, are scheduled with SRSG Hannah Tete as a briefer. This meeting will be hopefully preceded by adoption of the resolution on Haiti sanctions. The third full week of the month will start for the Council on Tuesday, September 21st, with a briefing on UNMIC, UN Interim Administration Mission in Kosovo. Deputy SRSG Mirbert Don Jun Shin will present the Secretary General's report. TCC meeting on MINUSCA, which is Central African Republic mission, is scheduled in the afternoon. October 22nd in the morning we will have a briefing and consultations on political and humanitarian aspects of the situation in Syria with the Najat Rojdi, Deputy Special Envoy. The briefing in the afternoon, a briefing and consultations on Haiti will take place, and the new SRSG there, whom you also know very well, Carlos Ruiz Maciel, will present the report of the Secretary General. As you may be aware, the week starting on October 27th is the International Law Week, so a traditional private meeting is scheduled on October 29th to hear a briefing by the ICJ President Yuji Iwasawa. No meetings of the Council are scheduled for October 27th, as we intend to use this day for the spillovers of the two open debates, namely on the Middle East and the UN anniversary. On October 28th, we will have a briefing and consultations on MINUSCA, which is a UN multi-dimensional integrated stabilization mission on CAR, where SRSG Valentin Rugwabiza will present the Secretary General's report. On October 29th, we tentatively plan the adoption of two resolutions on the mandate of MINURSA, which is the mission for the referendum in Western Sahara, and UNVMC, which is the UN verification mission in Colombia. But the actual timeline will of course depend on the pen holders. On the last day of our presidency, October 31st, we have scheduled the adoption of the resolution on the authorization of the EUFOR Althea force in Bosnia and Herzegovina, followed by a debate on the same topic. As for the informal wrap-up, the so-called Toledo formula, we are planning to do it on the last day of our presidency, October 31st. As for the working methods, they have remained unchanged for the last 80 years. You know that the Russian presidency is all about following the procedure, enforcing the efficiency, if needed, of course. And we will not hesitate to restore the order in the chamber and demand that delegations respect the decorum. So that's it, dear colleagues. I'm ready for your questions or comments.